our national anthem by Staff Sergeant Courtney Clifford from the Air Force Band of the Pacific.
Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last peak, whose bright stars and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were still gallantly strewn, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Thank you, Sergeant. Good morning and aloha. I'm Senior Master Sergeant Martin Seabach from Headquarters Pacific Air Forces A4. I'll be narrating today's remembrance dedication. Please take a moment to help me recognize our distinguished guests. Family members of Sergeant James Strickland, Miss Patricia Bolt, son Michael, James, and Laura. We're also honored to have with us today the December 7th attack on Hickam Field survivor, friend of Sergeant James Strickland, Mr. Durward Swanson. Thank you all for making the journey to Oahu for this historic week, and especially this dedication to Sergeant Strickland. And finally, Pacific Air Forces and 15th Wing also welcomes General North and Mrs. North. Major General Dillon. And Miss Higa. I'd also like to thank all other directors, commanders, chiefs, civic leaders, co-workers, and friends for being out here to witness this memorable occasion. Thank you all for attending. Today we gathered to dedicate the ceremonial marker to my right, a remembrance to the service and ultimate sacrifice of Sergeant James E. Strickland Jr., who perished with many of his brothers and sisters in arms during the grave attacks on Hickam Field 75 years ago. At this time, I would like to invite up Mrs. Jessie Higa to the front. She will be reciting the first stanza of the poem titled "To You Are Fallen," which was written by Joseph Grimm in the wake of the 7th December attacks.
Well, aloha kakahiaka in Hawaiian, that's good morning, and it's just a great honor. These ceremonies are very unofficial, but it's so beautiful that it sometimes takes on this official feeling because of the great honor, and for me as a historian to know that the legacies will live on. A little background, if I just have a few moments. When I volunteered to be a historian liaison for the base, I was a different kind of historian. We had historians, but I did a little something different. It was to know the anecdotal stories that created this tapestry of history. We had to make sure that it was interwoven, and what keeps it together are not just the stories and the historical events, but it's the very people that make it real. And when I found out Mr. Durward Swanson was coming for a parade from Marietta, Georgia, but from Alcoa, Tennessee, I thought, Hickam Field, finally somebody who's a Pearl Harbor survivor that's from Hickam. And Derwin told me, brought Cass, his cousin, and he said, the first place you're going to take me is Punch Bowl. And that is because his best friend, James Strickland, is interred there. I had said to Derwin, James Strickland, that's interesting, because when I was a college intern in 1990, I remember being tutored by the wing historian, and she told me the stories about poems, about newspaper stories, about all the men that lived in this building. And James Strickland was one of them. And I would bump into, 5 years ago, an officer, a colonel, who said, my uncle was killed here, Robert Duff, from Irving, Tennessee. Gave me the obituary, the actual obituary from his mother's scrapbook. And when I turned it around, there was James Strickland's obituary as well. They were totally back to back. And that's where this picture has come from that we're using on this plaque. And then I found out that James Strickland had a VFW named after him in Irving, Tennessee. There were only 14 out of the 189 that died. And it's the only one of the 14 that is completely active. So that's just a great honor. And that's when Derwin said, you know the poem, Jesse? The poem that was written because we so love James. And the story goes, these boys from the South, they included Missouri, by the way, was Missouri. And he said, we missed home. And just like Hawaii, it's about food, fellowship, and music. And who broke your heart last week? And they said when they made curfew at 9 o'clock, that is when Johnny Collins, a couple boys like James Strickland would get together and play beautiful country music, and that someone learned the steel guitar. I'm still trying to figure out who it was that told me, because Derwin knew it as well, that when we met at Punch Bowl, and he said, do you know the poem that was written by Joe Grimm about the steel guitar? And I went, oh my gosh, I've memorized it since college, and I'm going to share it with you. And this is why when I bring a trolley through here every Friday, I stop and I pause in this area to recite that poem, to let people understand that it's those stories that bring the history alive, and it is part of where we live and work. And it's those stories that make you feel a little bit different when you're driving around this space to understand that this is a battlefield. Men fell and died here, not just in this building, but in the grounds surrounding this area, including where we have a conference center for those who never made it to the step of the hospital. That is the kind of carnage and the reality that we have to put into perspective. Different than Pearl Harbor, we too had our tragedy. And that poem that Derwin asked me to recite, I still memorized it from 25 years ago. That's how long I've been in the story. And the stanza is, the barracks now are silent, where once your laughter rang. The steel guitar is broken, where around your bunks we sang. And I remember Leatrice Arakaki walking me through the hallways, and she says, it has been told by commanders to her that sometimes you do hear this beautiful music that can resonate through the hallways. You just don't know where it's coming from. And it's about the joy, it's about the love and camaraderie that brought that music and these boys together. And when James died, that is why he was immortalized in this poem. Because now the music was silent. Now they had to figure out how to regroup and now fight a war. And these were the first to die. Derwin has composed a beautiful music to the lyrics of the poem, and he has come special this year to share it with all of us. And growing old is not for sissies, so I'm told. But the grace that comes with aging is hard when the wisdom starts to fade. And Derwin knows that he needs to do these things now. And but how beautiful that he has put his heart and soul into this music, so that I know I can always keep that with me and for many others. But Derwin has relived that day, December 7th, a lot. Dementia, we won't call it Alzheimer's yet, but I know for Derwin, in the recesses of his mind, the stories and the scenes that he witnessed that day, he's tucked away for many years, and now that is the very things that come to the surface when he wakes up. So I pray that this song, Derwin's gift to us and to James, his best friend, is what heals the wounds and reminds us that we always must remember. Because no matter how much we say these ceremonies are about the survivors, no. These ceremonies are about the dead. That is why we get together December 7th. They're the ones that are passing the torch of remembrance that I pray we continue on for them once they're all gone. So with that, Derwin, your song, your gift to us, please bless us with what you created as our gift, our makana.
This time I'd like Mr. Swanson, please come up. Our guitar, Air Force Band of the Pacific, Staff Sergeant Aaron Castro. We're going to perform the song today.
The barracks now are silent where once your laughter rang. That steel guitar is broken where around your bunks we sing. As stars give way to morning in Wahoo's cloud-swept skies. Old glory's proudly waving there, seeped in heroes' crimson dye. Can you hear us there in heaven as the dawn patrol takes flight? On silvery wings your memory soars in holy freedom fight. The corner wind blows softly now, the palm trees whisper low, but all America will remember when come this dastard blow. Let the Nipponese remember this as they cringe beneath the sky. Here comes flame and vengeance for you, the first to die.
So at this time, as things start closing down, I'd like to say a few thank yous. First, to everybody who came out here to support this event. Obviously, it's very important to many people. I want to thank Headquarters Top 3 for funding the entire event and writing into the bylaws that our top 3 organization will maintain the site from here on out. I also want to Thank our members from the Air Force, Band of the Pacific, coordinating. Thank you for coming out and being a part of this. Jesse, thank you very much for everything you provided, all the information you've had. I'd also like to thank our entire team who came out to help set this up. This gentleman over here to my left, Sergeant Bowers in the middle, Sergeant Townsend in the back. These my family's helped out. Had a lot of folks that have come together to make this happen. So, thank you very much. And also, Lieutenant Colonel Berger, who helped get all this going and make this event happen. He's very sorry he wasn't able to make it. Other events in the military, but he sends his heartfelt blessings for today. With that, this concludes our dedication ceremony for today. Please feel free to come up and view the marker as long as you'd like. We also still have some refreshments in the back. Thank you all for coming.